Have you ever wondered about the stories behind India's most breathtaking landmarks? What if I told you that many of them, including the world-famous Taj Mahal, were built by a single powerful dynasty? For over 300 years, they ruled a vast empire, created unimaginable wealth, and left behind a legacy that continues to shape modern India. This is the story of the Mughal Empire. The year is 1526. A determined warrior and poet named Babur, a descendant of two of history's greatest conquerors, Timur and Genghis Khan, descends from the mountains of Central Asia. With a small but disciplined army, he faces the massive forces of the Delhi Sultanate at the First Battle of Panipat. It's a classic David versus Goliath story. Babur's innovative use of cannons and battlefield tactics shatters the larger army, and in a single decisive victory, the Mughal Empire is born. Babur lays the foundation, but this is just the beginning of a saga that will span centuries. From this dramatic start, the empire grows under a line of remarkable rulers. Babur's son, Humayun, had a rocky reign, even losing the empire for a time before reclaiming it. But it was his son, Akbar, who would truly forge the Mughal state into a global superpower. Ascending to the throne as a teenager, Akbar proved to be a military genius and a visionary administrator. He didn't just conquer, he unified. He expanded the empire's borders to include almost the entire Indian subcontinent. But his true legacy lies in how he governed this vast, diverse land. Akbar understood that ruling through force alone was not sustainable. He championed a policy of religious tolerance, a revolutionary idea for his time. He abolished the jizya, a tax on non-Muslims, and invited scholars from different faiths, Hindus, Christians, Jains, and Zoroastrians, to his court for spirited debates. He even attempted to create a syncretic religion, Din-e-Ilahi, blending the best elements of various faiths. His goal was to create a common identity for all his subjects, regardless of their background. To manage his massive empire, Akbar introduced the Mansabdari system. This was a brilliant administrative and military structure. Nobles, or Mansabdars, were granted ranks and were required to maintain a specific number of cavalrymen, ready for battle at a moment's notice. This system ensured a loyal, well-equipped army and an efficient bureaucracy, creating a stable framework that allowed the empire to flourish for generations. It was this stability that paved the way for an unprecedented golden age of culture, art, and architecture. This golden age reached its zenith under Akbar's successors, Jahangir, and, most famously, Shah Jahan. Jahangir was a great patron of the arts, especially painting. Mughal miniature painting, with its intricate details and vibrant colors, became a highly refined art form under his reign, capturing scenes of court life, nature, and mythology. But it is Shah Jahan's name that is forever linked with the pinnacle of Mughal architecture. His passion for building was legendary, and his reign saw the construction of some of the world's most iconic structures. He built the magnificent Red Fort in his new capital, Shah Jahanabad, which we now know as Old Delhi. He commissioned the stunning Jama Masjid, one of India's largest mosques. But his most enduring legacy, of course, is a monument to love itself, the Taj Mahal. Built as a mausoleum for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, the Taj Mahal is the jewel of Mughal architecture. It's a perfect fusion of Persian, Indian, and Islamic styles, a symphony in white marble. Every detail, from the intricate floral inlays of precious stones to the perfect symmetry of its design, was meticulously planned and executed by thousands of artisans over 2 decades. It's not just a building, it's an emotion frozen in time, a testament to one man's love and the artistic genius of an entire empire. These architectural wonders weren't just for show, they were symbols of Mughal power, prestige, and their sophisticated cultural taste. And the empire had the wealth to fund these colossal projects. At its peak, the Mughal Empire was an economic powerhouse. responsible for nearly a quarter of the world's GDP. India was the workshop of the world. Its fertile lands produced abundant harvests, while its artisans crafted the finest textiles, from delicate muslins to rich silks, which were in high demand across the globe. Spices, diamonds, and other precious goods flowed from its ports, making the Mughal court one of the most opulent the world had ever seen. European traders, who were just beginning to arrive on India's shores, were dazzled by the sheer scale of its wealth and the sophistication of its markets. For a time, it seemed the Mughal sun would never set. But every great empire, no matter how powerful, eventually faces challenges. The beginning of the end came with Shah Jahan's successor, his son Aurangzeb. A devout and austere ruler, Aurangzeb was also a formidable military commander who expanded the empire to its greatest territorial extent. However, his policies marked a sharp departure from the tolerance of his predecessors. He reimposed the jizya tax, and his long, costly wars, particularly in the Deccan region of southern India, drained the imperial treasury. These campaigns stretched the empire's resources to their breaking point. His rigid religious policies also alienated large segments of the population, sparking rebellions from groups like the Marathas, Sikhs, and Rajputs. The very unity that Akbar had so carefully built began to fracture. After Aurangzeb's death in 1707, the empire was plunged into a series of succession wars. Weak and ineffective rulers, often puppets in the hands of powerful nobles, followed one another on the throne. The centralized authority that had been the bedrock of Mughal strength crumbled. As the central government weakened, regional governors and local chieftains began to assert their independence, carving out their own kingdoms. The once mighty empire fragmented into a patchwork of competing states. Into this power vacuum stepped a new force: the European trading companies, most notably the British East India Company. Initially, they were just traders, but they soon began to exploit the political chaos, playing one local ruler against another. Through a combination of cunning diplomacy and superior military technology, the British gradually expanded their influence. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 was a major turning point, giving the East India Company control over the wealthy province of Bengal and marking the beginning of British dominance. The Mughal emperors became mere figureheads, confined to their palaces in Delhi, ruling in name only. The final act came in 1857. The Indian Rebellion, a widespread uprising against British rule, broke out. The rebels declared the last Mughal emperor, the elderly poet Bahadur Shah Zafar, as their leader, making him a symbolic head of the resistance. When the British crushed the rebellion, they took their revenge. They formally abolished the Mughal Empire, exiled Bahadur Shah Zafar to Burma, and declared Queen Victoria the Empress of India. After more than 300 years, the illustrious Mughal dynasty came to an unceremonious end. But the story doesn't end there. The legacy of the Mughals is all around us, woven into the very fabric of the Indian subcontinent. Their architectural marvels, like the Taj Mahal and the Red Fort, are not just tourist attractions, they are symbols of national identity. The languages we speak, like Hindi and Urdu, are filled with words of Persian and Arabic origin, a direct result of the cultural fusion that occurred during the Mughal era. The food we eat, with rich, flavorful dishes like biryani and korma, has its roots in the imperial kitchens of the Mughals. Their influence can be seen in art, music, fashion, and even the administrative systems that followed. The Mughals unified a vast and diverse land, creating a shared cultural and political heritage that endured long after their empire fell. They were more than just conquerors. They were patrons of art, architects of wonder, and administrators of a complex and vibrant society. The rise and fall of the Mughal Empire is a timeless story of ambition, innovation, love, and decline. It serves as a powerful reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and events, but a living, breathing story that continues to shape our world today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through one of history's most fascinating empires. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more stories from the past, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which empire you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.